Alright, so just finished turn 20. Do a quick overview. Both sides have gone. Nothing major to cover in terms of action on any of the fronts here. We can see the surrounded Estonian pop point there is now out of supply. It was attacked in the Soviet phase and they managed to survive, but they won't survive much longer actually. That unit has to roll for attrition as well. But really just moving up to meet the German positions now. Nothing spectacular to talk about. 10th Tank Corps is moving towards more Estonian pop points to see if we can start capping those if the Soviets get to go again in this turn. Well, either way, the Germans aren't going to stop them. What are we looking at here? So in Riga, you can see we have some reserves set up. We feel a little bit better about our defenses. Still not fantastic. But it is what it is. So we'll see what happens. We have some decent armored units up here in reserve. Hopefully can push outward or coincide with our plan to attack into this pocket, which we'll go to now. So you can see here, big change here for the Germans is we've abandoned our line. Left some infantry to hold that line. It won't last long, it's going to melt away. Hopefully we don't lose everything, but we would have lost everything in the entire game, which we probably still will lose as the Germans had we not tried to relieve Riga. So we've pulled back some armored units to here. These units would have strat moded that they were in a zone of control or they were DG'd. So we've come to here and tried to secure the second river line for the time being should a breakthrough happen anywhere here. These units could strat mode in the next turn should that opportunity arise. So as we can see over this way, we do have some armored units moving in reserve. That unit there as well. We had some rebuilds that are here in Ventspils. Some rebuilt armor that's been railed in or sea transported into that area there. So all of this force has eyes on punching through here or here to relieve Riga. That's going to take a lot of supply, which we're spending a ton of supply just moving this force, which is not helping us stockpile supplies to bring into Riga once we do relieve it, if we can relieve it. A little bit counterintuitive, I guess, but have to spend it to open the route. It feels awful just spending supply to move over there and really not affect the battle much, but it could come out to be beneficial. What else? Riga is dangerously close to no longer being a supply source. We've had to spend supply point in the last 2 turns to repair the port. If it drops down to 3T capacity, it can no longer be a supply source. And Riga is currently the only supply source for this entire pocket. And I don't have the supply to feed off the map, so that would be bad. That would be an entire pocket out of supply. And with these Russians sitting here ready to attack, you can imagine how that would go. So that is it for turn 20. The VP is now at 3 for the Germans. The Soviets did capture one more pop point on this turn, moving into a vacated hex where that airfield is now. That puts them at 35, which would mean a victory point for the next 4 or 5 turns. So they will even this out and end up taking the lead without the Soviets even needing to respond. So I'm going to roll for initiative now, and we'll see who's going to go here. So the Soviets will be on the red and the Germans on the white. And the Germans will decide. And that is not an easy decision. How are we going to do this? This infantry, I don't know if they can get away. We might be able to pull away a little bit. Still don't feel great about that. Whether or not they want to hold their ground is a difficult question here. This armor could pull away, and these guys could start mobilizing. We get more units coming in on this turn as well. It's going into the 1st of September. I actually have to roll for the Narva event as well, which would be some more German units joining. Shoot. Alright, I'm going to have to think about this one, and I'll roll for the Narva event and be right back and tell you what I decided. Alright, so we're moving into turn 21, and the Germans are going to take their initiative here to try and remedy the supply problems we're having inside of Riga here. We're just to a point where the on-map supply is minuscule, and we're very close with port damage to no longer being a supply source in there, so something has to be done. So we will repair that port, bring in 3 SPs, which is not a lot, but feels like a lot at the moment, and try and fix this problem. Along with that, we will try and attempt an attack here, should the movement allowance be beneficial to us there. We'll see what happens. I don't know that will work, but we need to do something here and try and relieve Riga even for a turn or two, build up some stockpiles and see what we can do. So yeah, I don't like having to take initiative as the Germans, but it feels necessary. The Russians, I'm just afraid for them to go anytime. If they could just not have a turn for the rest of the game, that would be fantastic. So alright, I do have one more, oh, actually the Narva event failed as well. That will be rolled every weather phase of each turn, so with the odds improving going forward, and that will bring on some SS troops and some Estonian troops who have nowhere left to defend, really. So hopefully that happens in the next turn or two, because we could use all the troops we can get. I do have one proposition. It is not historical. There's some hypothetical reinforcements that come in throughout the game that I haven't been using any of, but due to the situation I've got the Germans in, I'm going to propose one now, see what you guys think. So I propose that we bring in the Hermann Göring Panzer Division into the game to try and help the Germans out a bit. I don't think it would be overpowering to any extent. They are going to take some step losses. You have to roll 1 die on the reinforcement chart if you're using them to see how many step losses they take, and they will take 2 step losses of this total. I'm okay if nobody wants to do it. I'm okay if anybody wants to do it. I think it might be interesting to see if they can help out in that counterattack we're planning, or maybe they give me our shielding force against the main line here, again behind that river, so we can have the panzer divisions swing over and attack. I think I've just got the Germans in a poor spot here, so why I'm kind of suggesting it. So, but I'm willing to do whatever you guys think. So leave a comment, let me know, and we'll see where we go with that. Yeah, alright, so on to turn 21, and hopefully we do not get annihilated.